Hey man, how's it going?
It's warm today.
How warm?
Well, anyone who doesn't understand Fahrenheit, 16 degrees warm.
That's not that warm, but it is warm for what we've had recently, right? It's
Is
been a
it?
little
Like
bit more.
the day before was -7, so that's almost a 20-degree difference. That's a lot in
That
like
is a
2 days.
lot. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But yeah, welcome back everybody to Bite My Shiny Metal Cast, where we discuss all things Futurama. And yeah, as promised, new guest star. Well, another old guest star coming back for one of the films. Welcome back, Oliver. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. It's definitely t-shirt weather out there.
It is definitely t-shirt. Well, it felt like t-shirt weather. Mind you, I was
Oh,
indoors all
I was
day,
in
so
t-shirt. Yeah. I had two extra layers on, like a thin hoodie, and then another thin hoodie. Yeah, I was stripping down all day today.
yeah, you were probably pretty warm. So yeah, no, Oliver, it's welcome. Yeah, it's great to have you back, and I'm glad that you were able to make time to do this. I know you're also on a busy schedule. Everybody's on a busy schedule these days, but yeah, just wanted to start it off. What because you're kind of a unique case when it comes to Futurama because you don't watch a lot of the show. It's usually like I'll recommend an episode or two to you, and you'll watch it, and you're like, oh, I like that for one reason or another. So your overall impression, and then we're going to get more into what we thought about the whole thing, and of course themes and stuff as we've been talking about in the past. What was your overall impression of this episode or this movie in terms of this? So we're talking about, of course, we're talking about Bender's game again. So what do you think?
I think like one of those rare cases where it got better as the episode went on or the movie went on because I think it had maybe more of a weaker start but a really strong finish.
Okay.
So I thought that like once we got into the fantasy realm, that's when it picked up a lot.
I figured that's what something you would have really enjoyed. And I thought that's why I was like, okay, Oliver, you're going to watch this because I think you're going to really like it for this one. So you would say the beginning portion that kind of talks about like, because actually, because Mitchell could probably back me up on this as well. That's a lot of stuff that you probably aren't aware of because you don't really know the background to what the show is in
I
terms of
watched
like
the
dark
show like
matter
when
and
it was
Nibbler.
I
Was that?
watched the show when it was coming out.
Oh, that's
And
true.
so
Okay.
I watched probably like the first four seasons of it. So
Okay.
I was
You would have been like
up to date at
7.
one point in my life.
Sure. Okay. So you would have recognized then when Nibbler, right, the creature, right, he's talking about like how his species was on Vergon 6 and then they all left, got captured, and then he's of course like left over, and then we see Leela pick him up. That's like the third episode of the season or the fourth episode of the season.
Mhm.
So or the series rather. Sorry. So that's like an old episode. All right. But you'd still say it kind of slowly builds up and then near the end it kind of gets better. Interesting. Mitchell, would you agree with that case? Do you think that the fantasy element is better in that regard than the beginning?
I think it's kind of equal all throughout, but I will counter Oliver's. It ends better. No, it just kind of ends abruptly, and it's just like bye, and we're like, that was it. Okay, it was fun. Don't get me wrong. I love the fantasy part, and I take it that you are a much bigger fantasy guy than a sci-fi guy, right, Oliver?
I guess it kind of depends. I have a little bit of both. I'm not as like traditionally like I don't like the big trios or like I'm not a huge Trekkie or Star Wars guy, but I like a lot of the peripheral shows. Like I
Okay,
liked
yeah.
like obviously love Firefly and watch some
That's kind
Stargate.
of that's a Western space thing. It's its own little thing.
But it's
Yeah,
still sci-fi.
probably more.
Yeah.
Yeah, more on like the edge of like yeah, it's funny. I was like, I'm listening to Ender's Game right now
Oh
as an
God.
audiobook. So then, but there was no correlation between the two.
No. So then, yeah, so that would be one thing with sci-fi, but then of course you're a huge Lord of the Rings fan. You've
Mhm.
read a number of other
Oh, is
fantasy
that okay?
book
Yeah.
types, I'm sure, right?
I,
Like
I
you,
was I was just
yeah,
including Lord of the Rings as the big trio, and they're like, "Oh, I don't like the big trios." I didn't think you mean Star Trek, Star Wars, and
I meant
what's
the
another
sci-fi,
big
the
trio?
sci-fi
Yeah.
trio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
like
Because
the
yeah, like Harry Potter. You a big fan of Harry Potter? Because that's kind of a little more
Yeah. Yeah,
fantasy kind of thing.
more fantasy side of things.
yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
urban
yeah. Me
fantasy.
too. I like fantasy side of things more than that. Like I love the Aragon Inheritance series.
Mhm.
Read those as a kid. Love them.
Good fantasy.
Um,
Yeah, fairly
Lord of the
good
Rings,
fantasy.
obviously, Harry Potter. Um, I'm sure I can come up with more examples that are a little more niche, but I can't really think of the name off the top of my head. I know there's like this weird night show from the '90s where they had like kind of like superhero powers for a time being.
Hmm.
But yeah, I like fantasy stuff a little more, and I did like the fantasy in this one too. But it all kind of comes from science, but not really, but also really.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll get when we get into that then. So the very first like theme I guess we can kind of talk about here is like the sci-fi versus fantasy and how the
Dungeons and
elements.
Dragons.
What's Well, that's the fantasy side of it, right? But like when you look at the parallels of like the two sides, so Oliver mentions like as it gets longer, and Mitchell, you and I have talked about this too in the first part. This is like the movie where they really get into like it's more episodic than the other two. Oliver, I'm not sure if you watched the other Futurama films specifically, like Bender's Big Score or anything like that. If you have in the past, but those movies, or at least the first one, typically has like this overarching storyline. Like it feels like a cohesive movie all the
Yeah,
way through,
it's not segments.
right? And whereas the second one kind of has that because it has one overlapping element that kind of goes through it. Not much different than like the dice, for we'll say, or like the crystal in this one. But you can tell in this one there are very much similar or different segments. Like you can divide them. The first part, Dungeons and Dragons and Bender's going crazy. Second segment, there's a fuel shortage thing. Third segment, they're trying to stop said shortage or whatever, and then fourth one is the fantasy. So there's like you can tell there's a difference for it. So I want to talk like a little bit about the parallels. So we have the Die of Power, which is a cool concept, and then of course the crystal thing, right? So what do you think, Oliver, for how this whole how the two halves will say in this regard? How do you think they line up? Do you think it's good that they made these characters like here's Grey Farn, who is the wizard, and then we have our mad scientist, Professor Farnsworth. Do you think they kind of work well as like duelists? Yeah.
I thought it was kind of interesting. I think it was nice to have the die to kind of like be the common thread between all of them. But it was like I didn't see as much of like that direct connection between mad scientist and wizard. I think that like he plays it well because he's like an older character, but I didn't find them quite as cohesive. So I didn't. It's not that I didn't pick up on the connection, but it just doesn't seem as like one to one. It didn't seem like as much of a cohesive movie in some ways. It felt very episodic with a common thread.
Sure. Like there's like that one piece of material, right? That's kind of going through, right? And how about you, Mitchell? Do you think they kind of like worked parallels together? I thought they did personally. Like I thought they're like, you're right. Farnsworth is more old, so of course he's going to be like the wizard, right?
A wizard
makes sense for him to be the wizard. He can't be the centaur, which would be hilarious, but he would be the wizard character. But like they kind of work off the personalities a little bit more when it comes to these characters, right? I mean, especially with like Amy. When you have like the flirtatious, sci-fi Amy versus like Galactic Galadriel, who is right, yeah, the water. What is it? The water nymphos, queen of the water nymphos, and her power is literally to sleep with everyone. So like, you could play with like they just exaggerate a lot of their characters. So I thought that was true. I wouldn't say Hermes is a little strange. I mean, I guess there's debate. Well, he doesn't really do that. Zoidberg is
want to say that like
yeah.
For the Dungeons and Dragons archetype heroes, they didn't really do them very well because like Leela was obviously in a rage thing, which is a barbarian trait, But let's make her a centaur. Let's make her a centaur who's from a proud, noble people, but she's a violent dick. That doesn't quite work in my mind if they're trying to incorporate the Dungeons and Dragons world. It was more Lord of the Rings than it was anything else.
Right, except for Dungeons and Dragons. Like the elements are there in Dungeons and Dragons, but they're definitely stealing the storyline of Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The only thing from Dungeons and Dragons that they have was the dice. That was it. I mean, maybe a creature or two or something like that. I don't know enough about the world of Dungeons and Dragons, but everything else was like Lord of the Rings. It's like, oh, Morks, because that sounds like orc. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I did enjoy it. I thought it was Shazbot. I did enjoy that. Okay, that's interesting. I think
like I'm just trying to think like what like again, I don't really know much about Dungeons and Dragons. I've maybe played 2 sessions in my entire life. Yeah. I watched the most recent movie with Chris Pine in it, and I know nothing else other than that Gary Gygax. People from Futurama loved him, which is why he had a couple cameos, which is why they kind of had this idea for the movie. Is why I'm going to take a guess because he did get commented in or whatever, and in the credits, right? Yeah.
He did get mentioned, and I think, well, he's also the Geysers of Gygax, right? Like his name is even used in like the show as well for that. But yeah. Well, I was gonna say like because you and I talked about this last time, Mitchell. But like Oliver, did you ever play D&D or any form of D&D?
Yeah. Are you a nerd? Are you a geek?
He's not that kind of nerd. Or he never got.
Do you have friends?
Parties.
I've never partied like that.
No, I've played a couple tabletop. Yeah, I played a couple tabletop, but they weren't Dungeons and Dragons. They were like
me too. Yeah.
Well, very loosely affiliated.
Yeah,
I'm a nerd in other specific ways. Like I know all of the ways to play the Pokemon trading card game, and I know I love some good chess.
And we've Yeah.
I'm good with like those parts of things, but it's like you kind of have to get deep into them before they get fun. I think D&D is the same way. Where it's like
Yeah, you got to be involved. I
when it
think
gets
that's the
fun.
correct word. You have to be involved
Well,
to
that's
like those things.
that was my argument for why I wasn't a huge fan of it. It was because, or like, I think it's a really cool concept, and I would never take it away from anybody because I don't think it has any like wrong intention. But you definitely need somebody who controls that game, like the DM or the GM or whatever. They really need to be invested in that game, and their storyline has to go well. They have to really play their characters. Like, we're all fans of the show Community. Having somebody like Abed who could do like the voices and do all those kinds of things, you can really get involved into this kind of show. And it's,
But there's only one episode, Anthony.
yeah. What
I
happened
thought
to
I
that?
remembered there was
I
two,
thought
but
Chang
like,
was in one. That's
yeah,
weird. Yeah. Wasn't he a
as a
drow
dark
or
elf or something like
something?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Idiots. Anyway, but okay, cool. So I think we're all in agreement. We like the fantasy elements more than we did the sci-fi elements here. But I would agree with Mitchell that they're
It's
pretty.
50-50 on me.
Yeah,
It's
I think
50-50 on
I
me.
agree with Mitchell. I think they're pretty like standard in terms of what I would think as well. But I enjoyed the fantasy elements more. I just
Yeah, it
just
was
do.
fun.
Yeah.
But the weirdest thing for me was when spoilers that Ignor was like, "You're my father," and Fawn's what was his wizard name?
Gray Farm.
Greyfarn, thank you.
Yeah.
Greyfarn was like, no, and then they had the Star Wars theme with the background. They both had like lightsabers.
Yeah.
It's like you're mixing elements here. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
No notes, but the decision is weird.
I think maybe there's something in that they just have to have a Star Wars reference in all the movies. This has
What
got to
was
be.
what was the first?
I'm
and
trying to
second
remember
movie?
now because the first one definitely did. The second one.
Oh, right. It had the Death Star, the golden plated
right.
Death Stars.
Yeah. And of course, Mark Hamill voicing the Hanukkah zombie, right? In the second movie, I mean, yeah, I can't remember. Maybe they didn't have one for the second one, but the third
I
one.
want to say there's something with Zap Brannigan, but he's
Maybe.
more of a Star Trek ripoff of
Kirk. Yeah.
Captain Kirk. Yeah.
Right. But cool.
That's a Star Trek character there, Oliver, since you don't watch Star Trek.
But he knows it.
My mom's favorite actor of all time is William Shatner.
Okay, so never mind then.
He knows all the Star Trek things by osmosis. You just told him everything. No, that's fair. So I think that's like probably the major theme. The other interesting element, I guess, in the concept of the whole show, or at least the running gag of it, was of course like fuel efficiency or fuel in general. So like climate aspects or whatever, like mines, and that of like squeezing every little bit of gasoline for the top dollar that mom has because she has the monopoly on all these things, right? Now, personally, for me, I don't think that's a pretty interesting thing to really have a show like circle around. So I think that's why that part of the episode doesn't really get it for me.
Rich person bad. Yeah,
Well,
that's just kind of the climate the last 10 years.
Yeah,
So
well, it's not that rich
old.
person bad. Is that mom has always been that, right? Like,
yeah,
she's never changed in that regard. So we always know she's at fault for it. She's like, she's just evil for the sake of being evil. But I think there's also something about like having that, like the dark matter, and it actually is from Nibbler's species, not like the deposits for it. So I feel like there's some other indication of something going on with that. But I'm trying to wrap my head around it myself. Oliver, does it speak anything to you of why they would have focused on that versus something else with it, or was it just a means to get to a crystal? So they have a means to get to a dungeon dice or a dice of some sort.
I think it's the way of like connecting, like making that connection between like that big powerful evil entity in the real world with something that that would be its corollary in the imaginative world.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, you even see it today. It's like it's in our modern world right now, where it's like with everything that's going on, there's a lot of ongoing. It's our great evil, right?
Mitchell and I. Well, sorry to interrupt you. Just as a side thing, Mitchell and I literally had said during like our synopsis part, like I was telling you about, like, oh yeah, it's dark matter in the movie has gone up like 3 times the amount of that, and then Mitchell's like, oh, just like
our gas prices right now.
So yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it never stops being relevant though, and it's always. I think it's an excellent corollary though. It's like it connects it very well. Where you're like, yeah, greatest evil. This is we can draw connections with real people in real time, and I think you could do this story with the last over the last few decades, you could just pick a few different world leaders, and there you go. You have Mom.
You have Mom, basically. And as Mitchell says as well, like even having like this, like we'll say like the evil rich person, right? We'll just call him like the evil capitalist stereotype, right? Do you guys think, like, because this movie was made, when was this movie made, Mitchell? 2008? Is that when it came out?
That's when it came out, yeah.
So 2008. So during that time, that was right when Barack Obama got into power for the United States, because this is, of course, an American movie. So like heavily influenced from the United States.
It would have been in production well before that he even started his campaign.
Probably 2008, 2006, 2007, right? So that was George Bush era, right? And so you have, or George Bush Jr. or whatever era, and you have all this kind of stuff, right? So do you guys think, is this movie using Mom as like the evil? A, because Mom is already like an established evil character in the show, and that's great to always have her back because she's hilarious. I love Mom more than most other villains in the show.
Does a good job, yeah.
Or is it the fact that writers at that time, and still kind of to this time as well, they don't really know how to do any other big villain that they could kind of compare to like a Sauron type?
Oh, they're either too sympathetic or they're just cartoonishly like richly evil kind of thing,
right? But
they're always a big evil mustache.
But they're always richly evil. They're always richly evil, right? Like they're always, like I said,
it's one or the other.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you
sympathetic? Like I understand why he'd be evil. I'd be evil too. If I had the money, I wouldn't be that evil. I'd be good. Get him.
So
I think like there's very few poor villains, and like the poor villains are the ones you tend to sympathize with. Because if you think about the
just
ones
like
that come from nothing, it's like, I don't know, Bane comes to mind from the Batman movies, where it's like he comes from the darkness, and you almost sympathize with him at a certain point in the film.
I never did. I thought he was a simp.
Well, and that's also funny because then you're also comparing him to Bruce Wayne, Batman, who's comes from wealth and forced himself to go through this to feel the pain of what others would go through, so he can like put himself into that place of it and fight it. Right?
You were born. You think you're dark. I don't remember the line.
You don't remember the line, dude? It used to be you could quote that whole thing. That was the one thing you could quote.
Yep. The only movie quote I could ever quote was that. And now it's gone. I'm hopeless.
Funny, your voice was perfect. Your memory was terrible.
Yeah. Oh, was it? Oh,
Mitchell is surprised. Well, because Mitchell runs his own little cartoon, right? Which he hasn't been able to work on for a while. But when he gets back to it, but Mitchell has like a unique way with voices. Like in another life, you could have been a pretty decent voice actor because he can even do Nibbler pretty well. He could do a whole bunch of these like random
sounds.
Sounds.
I'm a 10% of a voice actor. I can do some things, but not the good stuff.
Right.
That's
just different enough. It's good. Yeah. All right. And I think that is like the core themes of it. Did I miss anything? Is there anything else that is kind of like in this movie that is kind of like, oh, that's an interesting idea that they kind of pushed through it? I guess you could also say, oh, sorry, there is one more. The one other thing I had was imagination. So the concept of robots.
Yes, that's a fun thing.
Having imagination and doing this kind of thing, right? I mean, that whole thing with Bender and his imagination is just funny. But it does leave me to wonder. Like, I mean, it's a thrown away gag in the movie, obviously at the end, and he tries to explain what happened, but really, it didn't happen. Nothing happened, right? They just dark matter teleported into Bender's imagination and done. So, but I do like the idea of imagination, all this stuff. I also do like Fry's comment, like, when will people learn that Dungeons and Dragons don't make you cool? It's just,
it's a very true thing.
So we'll move on to then from there. I do want to get into some jokes and comments and stuff that were made in here that kind of hit you guys. So Mitchell, why don't we start with you? I know you hate being placed on the spot because you can't always remember everything, but
yes, as proven with I can't quote shit.
Yes. What is your joke? What is one of the jokes that kind of comes up to you? We'll lapse a bunch of them because I think
for some reason. Yeah, this one stuck in me, and I meant to talk about it last week.
Yeah.
But when Bender is in the asylum and stuff, and he's in group therapy because all the other therapies weren't working, with like the spiders and rats going over him for relaxation, which would not work with me.
That would have been after the group therapy, but sure, he's in group therapy. Yeah,
I thought that. Oh, right, that's when they committed him. Either way, the whole like scythes going over him, threatening him with the spiders and rats. I don't like little teeny tiny claws and little footsteps all over me, and I also really don't like spiders, so that would be freaking torture. The knife things, yeah, I got cuts all over my arms right now. I'm fine with that. It happens. It sucks.
And the blinking lights and the loud noises, like everything that's
Oh, I'm
not
fine with that.
relaxing.
Yeah. I've tortured myself enough with songs I hate. But right before that, when like group therapy, and they're like change places, and then Bender says something stupid, and the doctor says stop. Hammer time, and then I just thought that was hilarious. He hits himself afterwards, but I just love like the whole MC Hammer quote out of nowhere kind of thing, because it's funny. And then he gets hit and his like light bulb breaks. Like, oh, I forgot we had changed places. I was in your seat. Oh,
and then he's like, and then the Mad Hatter's like, change places. Like somebody else said it, and they run over him. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I do like that.
Yeah, for some reason that one stuck into me, but there's a lot of good jokes in this one, but this one is probably, in my opinion, the least funny one in terms of jokes. Not that they aren't bad. Sure. It's just I can't think of another one off the top of my head other than the weird Professor Fonz Greyfarn has that boomerang. And then he like, yeah, like, but like it's an animation thing. I get it. Like it's a movie thing. Like you're on a screen, so like you throw it off the screen. Comes on the other
what?
side.
I think I'm going to do this in two ways. All right. So I'm going to split. We're going to talk about both sets of jokes, but I'm going to say keep the fantasy jokes into one group, and then we're going to do the Futurama sci-fi. Just because I think there's so many things we go back and forth on. And before we get to one of Oliver's jokes, I want to say one joke I thought from your because you mentioned the group therapy, and I thought this was really funny because Rosie from the Jetsons is in that one, and we have this dark secret that she killed the dog and Elroy.
Also, that dirty boy Elroy.
And I thought that was like that's such a if no one knows what the Jetsons is, like you're like
they didn't make a comeback. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I think they had a movie in the early 90s, and that was the last time they ever got talked about, other than like jokes and like Simpsons or Family Guy or something. Because that was like kind of like if you were the original family.
If you were a fan of the Flintstones, you probably knew the Jetsons. But if you had never really seen or watched those shows like on TV when they were on, or if your parents never showed them to you or whatever, you'd have no idea who this character is, and just says, "Oh, that dirty dog, oh that, and that boy Elroy, dirty." Like you have no idea what the hell they're talking about, just some random gag. But it's actually so dark. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that one up. How about you, Ollie? What's your one that kind of sticks up to you? There could be a few. Yeah,
it's a throwaway joke, but I like it. The demolition derby when the Lego car gets broken.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that too. That bit there where like Sal's like. You're like, oh, that woman's is crazies, man. But you're even crazier, right? Nah, I'm not that crazy. I have a new affection for life. They bail.
And it pulls away. Yeah, actually, I didn't go into much of the whole demolition derby during the synopsis because it's quite a bit of stuff to go on and all that kind of stuff, and we'll have so much time. I'd say that whole thing with Leela and her shot collar, I think is like
weird.
It is weird. And there are some elements in it that are funny, and she can do a lot of the stuff. Oh, sorry. I just remembered because she was talking about this and it makes her angry. One of my favorite running gags of Futurama's in this movie, and that is the scary door. The scary door. And my favorite one of the scary doors with the Dave with the T-Rex. And I like, yes, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite joke. I think
parody of War of the Worlds. And it's like, it wasn't, in the end, it wasn't like bullets and firepower or whatever that killed the aliens. It was one of God's most like humblest of creatures, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. And it's just, I'm just like, that is such a. And she's like, why would TiVo like think that I wanted to watch that? I'm like, I'd watch that.
Yeah, I'd watch that too.
So anyway, that was one of my favorites with that one. I think there's like another.
The shot collar was a little bit weird, though.
it felt a little dystopian in my mind, whereas like an employer can do that to their employee, and it's from Office Depot, so
yeah, which means it's readily available. You don't have to special order it or anything. In fact, it was the last one they had, so that means other people are using them. It also shocks you when you lie. That's one of my. I like that line as well, actually, when he says that. Yeah, I think there's. I mean, the milk thing. Fry keeps on trying. Oh, okay. Anatomically correct Fry. Show me on anatomically correct Fry where he touched you.
Oh, right. Where the professor has his brain in a chimpanzee,
the monkey or whatever, or they just switch minds.
And just remember, don't let him touch you down there. I do love the
heart to heart
nod. Yeah, the agreeing nod from the. There's very few like physical animation humor in
Mm.
Futurama. Like that's subtle like that. Subtle like that. They have like people falling down, getting hit and stuff like that, but just like Fry missing the button with his finger. Oops.
Oops.
I don't know why I love that one. But yeah, there's very subtle. They don't have that many subtle physical stuff.
No. And I will, last one I'll mention, and if you guys have any more as well, is when the three sons come in as the owl exterminators.
Owl.
I think that whole element is just funny, and they keep on doing Three Stooges things. They actually parody a lot of old stuff in this movie now that I think about it. But yeah, there's I love the he even has like the like all the timing, right? Like, oh, you, and slaps him, and then he turns and the ladder hits him, and then he has like the mouse trap and it hits his hand when he's about to slide. Like classic humor. And I love that Fry even says like, man, those guys are hilarious, and the girls are like, we prefer Sex in the City.
Now that's funny.
That's funny.
That's a good joke.
That was a good joke. So anyway, anything else?
Also
from the Futurama?
dated at its time for 2008.
That's true. Did you guys have any other jokes on the Futurama elements of the movie?
Anything off the top of your head there, Oliver? Anything?
I like that the particle accelerator was a gumball machine.
Sure.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. That is pretty cool. And that it just randomly made dark matter a fuel.
Yeah, I think that like the mechanism for it being like a D&D dice was just funny too.
That is cool. It was. I won't say that there's this. Although I would say that this movie is probably the worst written of the four. I still enjoy it the most because of the fantasy element of it. But having the dice be like that overarching thing, I don't think is a problem. I think that was actually a smart move, and that they kind of showed like the forethought of making it that and turning it into the MacGuffin that they needed in the show or in the rest of the movie.
I think they could have used it more actually, because like when Fry actually uses it the one time, he gets like huge and then he beats. I think is it a Dune sandworm? I don't know what he beats.
The tunneling death.
Ooh,
I don't know what
that's a
the draw
spoiler.
on.
I can't tell you what it is he fights, but in the movie it's called the tunneling
The
horn.
dark
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, the dark one. So yeah, to find out what that one is, Oliver, you have to watch Beast with the
The next
Wild
movie.
Green Yonder, the next one, the next film, because there's an element.
It's a different model, Anthony. It's very
I don't think
similar.
it is.
It's different.
Is it? Are you
Yeah.
sure? The color
Yeah.
scheme and everything? I don't
It
think
has
so.
multiple. It has multiple eyes in this episode.
Oh, and the other one it doesn't. You're right. Okay,
No.
but it definitely uses. They definitely use the model for that. So yeah,
It's
Anyway,
very close. It's very.
won't
very
get
close.
into it yet because it is. It's an element. It's a very prominent element in the next movie. But
Oh,
yes, he
just
does that.
Thought of another joke. Thought of another joke. That
Go
I
for
love.
it, and then I'll. Yeah.
So during the owl exterminator, we're owl exterminators. The professor reveals who they are. Is like, what are their names again?
So Larry
Walter.
or Walt,
The
Larry.
oldest dim-witted brother. Hey, they resent that.
Oh no,
and then the
leader among
middling
imbeciles. Do you want me to do the link?
Leader-
Leader
right,
among
yes.
imbeciles, right?
Ah.
Hey, they resent that, right? And then Larry, the sniveling middle child. Sorry. And
Yep.
ignorant. Oh, the stupidity I could, or the evil I could handle, but the stupidity. And then this is the joke.
This is the joke. Yeah, just, you make me angry to call myself. You make me angry that we're in the same genus to call myself homo. And then all the kids laugh because it's just hilarious, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I do like that joke. There's
Yes.
a solid gay joke that works. It isn't quite insulting. Is always funny.
And it just shows the immaturity of the kids, right? They're just like,
Yeah.
right? Like the professor doesn't know
homo
what
milk.
he said. Yeah,
I remember giggling at that whenever I saw that at a grocery store. Homo milk.
What else could it mean, right? I will say as well,
Well,
'cause
it means the same thing. So yeah.
Sure. Well, I mentioned this in the synopsis as well, but one of my favorite jokes in that scene as well is when so Professor does that whole thing, the homo thing, and then he says, "Okay, tell mom thanks for the crystal," and then cut to them showing mom or talking to mom or whatever. She steps out of this darkness, and then Ignor says, "Thanks for the crystal," and she just slaps them all. So that was mine. But Oliver, I completely agree with you. I think this movie needed to have more of the fantasy element in it so that we could have seen more of the die in there, and it would have felt more like.
How many times did he roll it?
Three, and that was it. So it was 7, 3, and 12, and that's all we got. And I was like, oh, I wonder what the other ones are, and it kind of makes me wonder what they could have done with it. So that I completely agree. I think they should have done it.
Yeah,
I don't know
exactly
how-
what I'm saying. It's not quite a Dungeons and Dragons theme thing.
Yeah.
It's just a fantasy that with lots of hints from.
Honestly, it's not even really a Lord of the Rings
Rings.
thing either. It could have been. You could have had a whole movie, not a whole movie, obviously, but like you could have had it like Bender's imagination, and then it just him. He gets hit in the head or something, he blacks out, and then in his world, in his mind, he's Titanious Anglesmith, and Frido is there. Maybe he looks more, old school or whatever, like the
More hobbity
tunics or something. Yeah, and then you can have Centaur Leela or Legala, and you can have everybody else. But then you can even have a scene with them meeting each other. You can have it where
meeting up like in Dungeons and Dragons, like how you
Sure,
guys enter a tavern.
you could
You
even
see
do it then at
Frido
a
over
council, like a council of Elrond, and they could meet up with they could have Scruffy be like Elrond or something. Like there's more they could have done with it. And I feel like they just it was an afterthought, which is why I think it's not the best written movie, because I think there's two movies here. Here's your thing with mom and her domination of her conglomerate of dark matter, which leads into like Nibbler and like the whole mythology of Futurama as a whole. Here's Dungeons and Dragons, and it's and we want to make a special episode with fantasy elements of this. So
I'll defend them a little bit with this, because like I do agree with you, but I'll also like thinking like, well, why wouldn't they have done a more Dungeons and Dragons style kind of thing, right? It was 2007, 8ish when they were writing this or filming this, right? Dungeons and Dragons wasn't as big as it is now via the cult, the pop culture, right? Because we got Stranger Things who brought it back. We have episodes of TV doing it. It's not so nerdy now. Like you got hot people like Joe Manganiello doing it and other stuff like that. Right? I can't think of another hot guy who does it, but yeah, they got hot people playing it now and people watch it, right?
Well, I was going to
Lord
say,
of the Rings was still relatively big at this time, right? 2005 was when the last one came out. Is that correct?
2002. 2003, I think. 2001, 2, and 3, I think, is when the last one came out.
So it was still probably in the zeitgeist of the pop culture, very big cult.
Which is definitely why they used Lord of the Rings elements.
Yeah. Which is why they did that. So I'm defending them, but I'm also like, it's I would have preferred Dungeons and Dragons style stuff too, because like it's the randomness of Dungeons and Dragons. Like, oh, we're gonna go across this river. Yeah. We'll make a roll for something. Oh, it's a natural one. The bridge breaks. You all die.
And just to counter yours a little bit, because I agree with you as well. It wasn't
a counter to the counter.
A counter to the counter again. I don't think it was necessarily. You're right that it wasn't completely in the zeitgeist for sure, but I don't think it's because people weren't finding it as interesting or as fun. Like Joe Manganiello and all the people that you want to mention, who's also attractive.
I can't remember.
No, all those people, they were still playing it. We just didn't have we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have social media to kind of like make it a prominent.
Good Lord, you're right. Yeah, 2007 was when Facebook came out, and that's kind of where it all.
Yeah, YouTube was around, but it definitely.
Oh my God, it's been almost 20 years.
Yeah, man, it's been a long time. So I think it's always been around. It's always been very popular.
No. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like the average Joe would have been like, oh, I know these nerds I bullied, when they themselves wasn't a jock or anything. They're just that was the person who bullied.
Whatever, yeah.
Much like in
other cool things,
or it was Demon,
which we might still play. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just. There's more things now have brought it forward. That's all I'm saying. Like Stranger Things, which is probably one of the bigger hits that discusses or goes around it.
Yep, I agree with that. Okay, well, why don't we get into the fantasy element then? So Oliver, why don't you start us off?
Good debate there, Anthony. We were centaurs there for a second.
I still won the debate. That's one of my.
No, you didn't.
No, that's one of my. It's like hit some of the stomach.
No,
that's one of my favorite.
I like to lead us step on his toes.
Ollie, what's a couple of your favorite of the fantasy elements or fantasy jokes in this? Or it doesn't have to be a joke per se. You can just like a scene or something. Yeah.
I mean, I was a little bit like, not sad, but like nerd defending Minas Tirith when they turned it into a toilet.
Yeah, but I don't know why they called it White Castle. Like White Castle, was that like a thing in anything that you can think of that's like fantasy? The only thing I can think of is Harold and Kumar going to White Castle, which is not quite in the same world.
Not fantasy at all. I think honestly, I don't know. It could have been a parody of White Castle, and they turned it to Wipe because it sounds the same, and therefore they're like, okay, wipe toilet. Okay, white toilets are white normally, so okay, cool. Let's just make it that. Maybe. I don't know. I think they just needed a poop joke.
I also did appreciate like when she's like making the stones or like the dye in the beginning. She's like, that's hot. She burns herself on the dye. That was a good
also joke. Giving her Medusa hair was weird because what was that joke?
It was just to make her that much more evil. That's it. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Damn, these are hot. That's true. I always forget about that. She always does that.
Yeah, and none of those got mentioned. It was just the one dye that got mentioned. So it's
yeah. So
weird.
that's actually one of my pet peeves with this is like where are the rest of these? And how did Frido get the other one? Like, it just popped up and hit him in the head. He's like, what the hell? He just picks it up and puts it in his pocket. Like, it showed up with him, but like, she always had them. So like, I don't know. Like, there's so much story in this one concept that they just don't touch upon. It's just a joke because it's all in Bender's head, right? So it's just, I don't know. I thought there could have been more for that, but okay, cool.
Well, they
Yeah.
literally go into the fantasy world around 45 minutes ish or something, and this is only, and it's like a little over halfway. So like,
Yeah.
they
That's what
still
I
got to
mean.
do that
It's just
resolve at the end
it's
there.
the
So it's
fourth.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like half an hour of this movie. We'll say about like 35 minutes. It's such a small time, and I loved it. I love it because there's a lot of jokes there. Like, would you like a slice of scroto? That's his name, right? Tis also, sir.
There's also that. So.
And then like when the little imp like
kids.
yeah, yeah. Wait, I can do impressions. I can do the old swamp hag.
Don't let him get too
And I think my favorite character for that segment is Peaches, the orc.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep,
just
I
because
totally
he has
forgot
a
about
what's
Peaches.
a mace that's a hand that he slaps the kids with.
Yeah.
And then Peaches, I'm in the tub.
I'm in the tub. And then he comes out. He's like, get a towel on. She slaps him too. Jesus.
But
Actually,
I will agree with you guys that the wipe castle's like, come on.
okay. So Ollie's like, nah, come on, it's Minas Tirith. So I was right that it's clearly a parody of Minas Tirith, right? Not
think
Helm's
so,
Deep.
yeah.
It's Minas Tirith. So I was like, okay, so they could do a lot with it. I didn't really think much about the whole wipe castle thing for it. I thought it, just in his head. But I did have this kind of thing like, you could have had more. Mind you, though, I do appreciate how much of Lord of the Rings they brought into that war, into that fight, and I do love the giant kangaroos.
That was funny, yeah.
Tickles
Yeah.
my funny bone a bit, and it's especially when they're throwing things because they throw like the spears, and it's just like the spears, and then random elements, and then the Joey
Unicorn.
and then the unicorn, and you're like, oh, that's funny. And then the professor and his boomerang, right? So
That was weird. I don't think it quite worked in my opinion, but that's fine. It's
an
fine.
animation thing, right? Right. Any other things that kind of, I mean, we could go all day about like yelling jokes about this.
Very random. It was like there's a lot of random things in there because there's no centaurs in Lord of the Rings. I'm like, where did the centaur come from?
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it's just they kind of put a couple things.
Yeah,
they call.
There's no gnomes either.
Fantasy,
yeah, like they have gnomes.
There's no nymphos.
That's right. I guess there's no nymphs, but you're right. Yeah,
nymphs. Thank you. Sorry.
The nymphs.
So there is nymphos, is what you're saying.
Yeah, there could be. You don't know. Lord of the Rings had a dark underbelly as well somewhere. Minas Tirith wasn't all white, okay? Wasn't all sparkly white. I think. Yeah. What are the other main? Help me out, Ollie. What's the Rohan one?
Eredor.
Edoros. Thank you. Yeah, that place was just like a hill with a bunch of houses, right? Like there's not much else you could have done with that one. So yeah, Minas Tirith. Yeah, maybe the Witch King of Angmar. Maybe Angmar had a little bit of dark stuff going on, but who knows?
I was kind of hoping for somebody else to play Denethor as well, but I'm just a Denethor fan, so
You just like when he runs off.
yeah. Well, no, he's just a great actor in it. Like when he's all
John Noble is
yeah, he's great.
He's absolutely
so well.
My dad held a door open for him at Comic-Con.
I shook his hand. I got his autograph. Yeah.
Ooh.
I said he was paid $40, but I told him, why are you so good in your show? And he's the humblest man. He says, the writers. Just the writers.
Oh, that's so nice of him.
Yep. John Noble, he's a decent guy. He's a super decent guy. At least when I met him, he was. I was like,
he set back the cherry tomato business years, though.
But yes, we did open the door for him because he got locked outside when he was smoking. So.
That's what it was. Oh, that's funny.
That's what it was. I was like, hey, that's John Noble. Oh, you can't get in. Oh, let me help you.
Yeah, I just remember you and my dad were just going, that's John Noble. I'm like, I don't know who that is. He was in Lord of the Rings. Like, there's a lot of characters in Lord of the Rings. Was he a good one? Or he was Boromir's dad.
Yeah.
So wait, John Noble was trying to get into a building?
Yeah.
So at the Comic Expo that's run here in Calgary, as a side thing for anybody who's listening, actually it's coming up very, very soon in accordance to recording this. And the one year that we had gone, or another year that we'd gone, John Noble was there for Denethor. I think he was also in Stargate Atlantis or something, and Fringe, the show Fringe that was on for about 5 years. And most people knew him as Denethor. I knew him from Denethor and Fringe and all this stuff. But in any case, he had a booth. So during their break time, they can go out, and the one place that he had gone into like to have a smoke, and this little courtyard, the door had shut behind them and locked them out. So they would either have to go all the way around the building again to get in, or somebody nice could let them in. And I got to be that nice person. So
I think you missed an opportunity though, Anthony. You should have like come up behind him and just been like, "Bring wood and oil."
I should have opened the door like, "Do you have the wood and oil?" That would have been smarter. I don't know why. Oh well. Anyways, side thing. Cool. Well, okay. Well, we can always run up another joke if we're thinking about it, but let's go into one of my favorite parts, obviously, the NVPs. So, Oliver, because you're not new to this, but because they are the movies and because it's quite long and there's multiple characters, you also get to have a runner-up. So if you have
an honorable mention,
somebody that you think could have been there, but maybe they just didn't hit it because of the other one. So would you like to go first?
Like a runner-up character or a segment?
Well, you can character. I mean, you can also have a segment as well if you want to throw that in there as well for your favorite scene, and then another scene you like. That's okay. But a character, an MVP, and your runner-up.
I think that who stood out the most in this? I think the professor had some good moments. I think it was very like Bender-centric though. So I think my favorite
is called Bender's Game. I will say this as well, though. I'm going to declare. Mitchell disagrees. I don't care. I declare that the fantasy versions of these characters are different characters,
and I declare that.
Yeah, except for Fry, because Fry and Leela, because they have their memories. Everybody else is different. Yeah.
I'm going to say my favorite character was the therapist robot at the therapy place, like with like the call. I thought it was pretty funny. I think it was a good day.
Yep.
But I think it also worked really well.
I agree. Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Yep.
Dr. Perceptron.
Sorry. Yeah. Dr. Perceptron. Oh, I forgot we had changed places. Yeah. I also, as a side, because you reminded me, every time he says somebody's name, because it's clearly like recorded in his head, he's like, Bender.
Yeah, it's like the syllables, like just like where he can find the sound.
Because it's being added into it. Yeah. So
Maurice LaMarche plays him.
Yep. That's a clever touch on that. And yes, it is Maurice LaMarche. So yeah, sorry. So Dr. Perceptron, sure. Okay. Do you want to do your runner up as well? Do you want some time?
I think would be, because he had multiple segments. I know it's not the devil robot, but he's like one of the gangster robots. He's like the evil one, but then he also plays Denethor as well. So he's my runner-up.
Dr. Roberto. He's not one of the gangsters. He's the insane, always in the insane asylum, or he's always like, the knife.
Because they were trying to build an insane robot, but they failed, right? You're not made of Tuesday.
Well, actually.
Right, yeah.
I got my sanity back. Yeah. Okay.
So you like robots, Mr. Fantasy Genre Man.
Okay, Mitchell, do you know yours right off the bat? Or
oh yeah, Fry.
Which one? No, there's only one. No.
You're right. There is only one Fry.
No, you cannot choose Fry or Bender. No more Fry or
Bender. It's Fry.
Okay, you have to tell me why then.
Because it revolves around him. I love the line where, well, we're getting our asses handed to us. I'm going to put my hands in my pocket and throw whatever at him and say, at least I tried. It's kind of how I lived this week, to be honest. It's just like, at least I can say I tried.
Did you get your die of power, like roll grow?
No. I had a...
Do you have a runner-up then?
Runner-up?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a toughie. I'm going to go with Peaches just because I thought he was good.
It was funny to have it there.
Yeah. I did like Bender in this one, but he got annoying pretty quick. So.
Nope, fair enough.
Yeah, so yeah, Fry then Peaches.
Fry then Peaches. Okay, I'm going to go. Man. I do. Okay. I'm going to go. Okay. I'm going to different to you guys. I'm going to go mom, not mom and mom. I think mom has some, like every time mom is on there, I love having her as the villain and I love everything she says. And like her hand thing was like, imagine this is like the dark matter demand or whatever. This is like consumerism or whatever. And she slaps him. I love it. And I also love just everything with her. My runner up is Ignar. Is going to be Ignar, her third son.
I
And
was thinking about that too for myself, but I'm just
yeah,
like, yeah,
and
they it's not canon. They don't want to acknowledge it.
I know, but it is canon because they reference things from this movie continuing on, or at least actually no, they do, because in this movie, dark matter was the fuel, and then going forward is no longer the fuel.
It
Like
goes
it's
back to whale oil or something like that,
yeah,
doesn't it?
they have a completely different thing for it, and I think they even I mean because it takes place the future seasons take place in the future of our show or in the show right in the world, so they have new elements. They introduce more like electricity things. They introduce like all this kind of stuff, right? But Igner and yeah, Mitchell and I've because Oliver, if you I don't think you were there for the episodes that we did with you, but like when Igner is there in the future episodes, he's never talked about being Farnsworth's son. So it's always this thing like Mitchell and I, like when the new seasons came out, when Hulu, and they've done 3 parts so far, 10 episodes apiece, 30 new episodes so far, new 10 are coming. Never mention this. 52 episodes after this movie came out, never mentioned this. Like, don't know why. Don't know why, but here we are. So I'm going to say Igner just for the sake, like that is a little string there. It's still there, and it should be. So should be talked about. But yeah, I guess that's where we'll leave it off. Do you guys have anything else to add to this whole thing?
It was a fun movie. I liked it. Just I would kind of wish they kind of got into the fantasy a little earlier, and kind of I think like we already discussed, have more like Dungeons and Dragons style of stuff to it, or they could rewrite this to be like more Lord of the Ringsy. They kind of dipped their toe into both and kind of stuck with the Lord of the Rings theme, which didn't quite work with how they started it. So, yeah.
And I'm not sure if you watched this, Oliver. Mitchell has kind of conflicting views on it. I think it's okay. I think the first few seasons were a bit better, but I think this is also the first stepping stone to Matt Groening's third show, which was a fantasy show called Disenchantment. And the elements of that I really do see. Like they were like, oh, okay, we can take something from this and we can put it into this show and we can turn it into our own thing. I think that was like when somebody had a little mind that like maybe we could do a fantasy show. Like I think that's the beginning of it. So I'm going to give it credit for that too. But no, fair enough.
Oh, I like the first season of Disenchantment, but then outside sources ruined it.
Yeah, that's always why you have to watch these things in a vacuum. But in any case, yeah. Anything else to? I know I already asked this, but anything more, Aldi? One more thing to throw in there? Your overall, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
I thought there was lots of like I think scene for scene it was funny because you had like a lot of really good throwaway jokes, but yeah, I think it just lacked the overall cohesion. But you know, that being what it is, it was still entertaining.
Yes, and I thought for sure you would like at least the last third of the film for that reason. So I'm glad that you were able to watch it. But yeah, well, thank you so much, you guys, and Oliver. Special thanks to you again for being able to be here with us and chat with us for our movie. And as always, Mitchell, it's always great to have you with me for it. And
You say that reluctantly, yeah.
no, obviously I kid. You're great to have here. But yeah, thanks again, Oliver. Thanks, Mitchell. And yeah, have yourselves a great rest of your night. And we'll see you guys next time for when we start discussing the last movie already, Wild Green Yonder. This is so much shorter than the seasons. So yeah, let's get into that. So have a good one, you guys. Talk soon.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.
So, yeah.